What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 10 of the GPC League, where I'm up against Melontosh, coach of the Exeter Chief Electivires. If you guys are excited, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. Now, the really weird thing was, I was talking with Melon before we started, and it actually turns out we went to the same school. He was a few years below me, so we've actually met each other in real life before then finding each other again on the internet. So that's just absolutely crazy. It's just a random coincidence you guys, might find quite funny. On top of this as well, I think the Verd, who I'm meant to be battling in week 11, has forfeited his match against me. I think he's basically forfeited the last few sets from there. So that does mean that if we win this match, then we're guaranteed into playoffs. If we don't win this match, then I think Gareth has then got to fight Merc in week 11, and if our differential if he basically pips me on differential, then we're out from there. So I think we've got 5 difference in total. So if I need to get the small, if I do end up losing, I want to get the smallest gap possible, so then he has to then basically win like 4, 5, 6-0 from there to be able to actually make playoffs. But hopefully we get the win and pull through from there. So in terms of what Melon could be bringing, he's got the Reuniclus, Crobat, Tangrowth, Landurus-I, Mega Absol, Seismitoad, Snorlax, Regirock, and Emboar. So a very spooky team, hugely bulky, horrifically bulky, with the like the Reuniclus, the Snorlax, the Regirock, the Tangrowth as well. So that's going to be very, very tricky for us to try and beat, but I've got a few ideas of how to handle it from there. So one of the main ways that I noticed was the fact that when he plugged all his speeds in, I realized that he had Tangrowth and Landurus-I and Mega Absol that was speedy, but Mega Lopunny has a really fantastic matchup on the offensive side because he actually has to be, I think everything else can't be scarfed. Even if it's scarfed, it doesn't outspeed me, apart from like max speed Seismitoad, but even then, I've got answers to that. And so the only way that he's able to aggressively revenge kill my Mega Lopunny is by Scarf Crobat or Scarf Landurus-I, both of which really cripple those guys. So that's pretty nice for us. So making sure Mega Lopunny is going to be our win con, but he does have a lot of bulk on the other hand. So I was expecting sort of like him to try and wall Mega Lopunny rather than go down the offensively check route. So in terms to try and break that bulk, I've got the Choice Scarf Gothitelle. So this guy is designed to do a few things. First of all, it's designed to identify what the biggest threat in terms of setup, either like Calm Mind Reuniclus or Calm Mind Snorlax, trick them the Scarf, which is very, very nice. Then we can switch out into something. So for example, if the Reuniclus is in, we trick it the Scarf, he goes for Shadow Ball, we then get to go straight into Mega Lopunny for free because he's then choice locked into that. So that's very, very nice for us. And then it means because we switched out, we won't get Pursuit trapped and killed by Mega Absol. I'm expecting Pursuit with Mega Absol to stop us from doing any shenanigans like that. And then hopefully Gothitelle will be at enough HP to then be able to take on anything else from there. So, I could potentially then trap the Tangrowth. If it's defensive, Hidden Power Ice is going to be doing a lot of damage to that. So as long as I'm fairly sort of healthy, it should be okay from there. So next up, we've got the Mega Lopunny. Actually, we haven't even gone into the set properly. So I've got the trick. Hidden Power Ice, Psy Shock, and Energy Ball hits most of his team very hard, and I can trap a lot of things and kill them. I've got just enough speed to be able to outspeed, I think, maybe not Scarf Emboar, but a few other things, because I do need that Modest to be able to take out the Landurus-I and Oko it. I just want a panic button where if Landurus-I is looking a huge problem, I can just trap it, Oko it with Hidden Power Ice, and the Modest just adds that little bit of extra damage. So I think I'm speed crept to basically outspeed anything else that's going to be Scarf potentially. So that's pretty good for us, and just overall, trap stuff. I think we also are speed crept to be able to outspeed Landurus-I. That looks to be able to outspeed Landurus-I as well. So that's pretty sweet for us. So next up, we've got the Mega Lopunny with the Limber. So the Limber allows us to not get paralyzed if the Reuniclus has got T-Wave or something like that, or even the Regirock's got T-Wave. That's pretty good for us. And we have the Power Up Punch Last Resort set. So this, as I said, he really struggles to offensively check Mega Lopunny. So all I need to do is just get as much offense as I can on there. So Power Up Punch on the switch, and then Last Resort does just crazy damage to his entire team. So that's really, really nice for me. For example, like the Reuniclus takes like 70% from a Last Resort. So that's very, very nice. And basically the plan is just weaken his team, break his walls down, and then come in with Mega Lop and clean up from there, which is going to be very, very nice. Next up, we've got Rotom Wash. I have to bring Rotom because it gives me a check to the Landurus-I to an extent, the Seismitoad, if that's going to be like a Rain Dance shenanigan ones, Mega Absol as well to an extent, and but just put pressure on the Regirock and the Emboar as well. So it just puts enough pressure on the team from a sort of defensive side. And Volt Switch and Hydro Pump sort of, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world from there. Then we've got our dedicated lead, which is Regirock, which should be able to 1v1 pretty much anything he decides to lead with, except, I guess, maybe the Regirock, if it's sturdy. That's probably the only way I could really see, because I'm going to pretend to be Mega Lopunny and basically scare him out into either Reuniclus or Tangrowth. Then I can Swords Dance up, knock off the Rocky Helmet on Tangrowth, or I can knock off any item on Reuniclus, which would be very, very nice for us. Sucker Punch allows us to take on the Crobat and stuff like that, and as I said, SD allows us to set up. Then we've got the Electivire. This guy is going to be my premium wall breaker for this time, because it allows me to wall break the Tangrowth, the Snorlax, put pressure on the Regirock to an extent. But just in general, this coverage allows me to hit most of his team very hard. We're pretty bulky. He's got that nice little speed gap that I was saying about that we've managed to sort of slot ourselves into. And 95 speed means we can get, you know, a decent amount of HP investment from there. Finally, we've got the Scarf Florges. This allows me to check Swords Dance Mega Absol. Also be a surprise check to Melontosh, and I can sort of lock myself into. He's got, you know, a few Ice Weak mons. I can lock myself into Hidden Power Ice if I want to later on. Psychic allows me to put pressure on the Crobat, and finally Endeavor, because I haven't really got any other slots from there. And Endeavor puts enough pressure on an opponent where, for example, if he's a Snorlax where he's in a Curselax, if I'm low on HP, I can just come in, spam Endeavor. He can't rest up. He's got to kill me and stick with being at that amount of HP, and then something can come in and potentially revenge kill it from there. So it's a bit situational, but should be relatively useful for us. So, you know, as always, what we're going to do is now go into the battle, and you can see exactly what happened from there. Okay, so we are at the battle, and as you can see, he has got bulk upon bulk with some spooky offense. So he's got the Landurus-I, which I was expecting, the Mega Absol, also potentially Pursuit, Crobat, and then the final three are going to be his walls. And it's basically just try and wall break as much as possible, check if either of these two are Scarf, because if they're not Scarf, Lopunny, you know, outspeeds the entire team, and it's a pretty good deal for us. So what I decided to do is, you know, as I said, lead off with Lopunny, you know, pretending to be the, lead off with Zoroark, pretending to be the Lopunny, because I was like, I'm limber, you know, he might stay in, but I'll always go down to my Sash. I'm expecting either the Focus Blast or the Psyshock, even potentially expecting me to make an up, but maybe not the T-Wave. But he does go for the T-Wave. So I think in his head he realized that it was unlikely that my Mega Lop was going to lead, so this might be the Zoroark. So he decided to go for the T-Wave, which is, you know, fair enough. So I decided to go for the knockoff here. I'm like, please, you guys know what I'm like with Yellow Magic. I was like, I just want to knock off this item, get rid of the potential leftovers. But he's Colbur Berry, still doing a very nice amount of damage. Just like, he's expecting me to Sucker Punch here. I'm not going to Sucker Punch. So let's just go for the knock off an item. So we do, unfortunately, not knock off the Rocky Helmet because of how the mechanics work. We died to the Rocky Helmet before the item's knocked off, so unfortunately we don't knock it off, but we get some nice damage on Noodles, which is pretty sweet for us. So I can go to Electivire here. I just decided to predict the low kick because I was like, he's in such a sticky position. I know he's defensive. He knows I have fire coverage on this guy. Homer here is a very obvious switch, so let's just go for the low kick, and let's just start breaking his walls as much as possible. And that was really, really nice. To get so much damage off on Homer first turn was going to be beautiful for me. So he does end up switching out here, as I decided to go for the Thunder Punch, just because I knew it killed this guy. If he wanted to go into anything else apart from the Tangrowth, I could put the pressure on, confirming he's Regenerator, which, to be honest, there's no other reason for you not to be. But now I can reveal the Flamethrower and get some huge damage off. So, you know, Electivire's, you know, being very, very useful right here, putting the pressure on just how I need it to be. So out comes the Reuniclus here. I just go for the Ice Punch just in case he wants to stay in, and I'm forced out here, unfortunately. So I go into Rotom Wash as he just goes to the Recover. And he reveals here he is Magic. Oh, he is Regenerator, which I'm like, oh, great. Lopunny, we're going to have to really weaken this Reuniclus before Lopunny can sweep, because otherwise, you know, it works well with Magic Guard, because if I just wear it down to a point where it's below like 80%, below 80%, then it's fine. Lopunny can then sweep, because the Power Up Punch plus Last Resort will be able to take him out approximately. I think it was like 70-80%. But unfortunately, with it being Regenerated, it's just going to make my life that little bit harder. So I just go for the Will-O-Wisp here, and then I was like, oh no, this Snorlax is now going to try and recover up. I probably lost the momentum that I just gained. So I decided to Volt Switch here, because the Hydro Pump's not going to kill. And I can go back into Dre to see what he wants to see. But he goes to the Toxics, that's good. So he might not have rest here, and now I'm forced just to put the pressure on, go for the Thunder Punch, and take him out from there. So that's very, very nice for us. Out comes the Tangrowth here, and I was like, oh, I know he's going to switch. He's just trying to get Regenerator boost, but I was like, I can't afford not to. It's one of those stupid things where I knew I should have just switched and been clever about it, but I didn't, and I just went for the Flamethrower because I got just got too greedy. And from here, I was like, okay, he's not going to T-Wave. He's probably going to Psyshock or something like that. I can go into my Gothitelle, absolutely fine. But he does predict us the switch here, goes for the T-Wave, so that's unfortunate for us. Being T-Wave with Goth does limit us a little bit, but we can still get the trick off, so that's fine. So he goes for Psychic, doing little bits of chip damage, and we get paralyzed. He goes for Psychic again, and we get paralyzed. So I'm like, I just need to, first, I want to trick the Scarf on this, but now, because I've got so worn down, I'm not going to be able to basically take on anything else. Like the Tangrowth might not be able to take me on, so actually I'm a lot less useful than I could have been before, considering I've lost like bit less, about 40% more HP than I should have really done. So I sack off Dre here, go for the Psychic, and yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but I can sort of play on from there. Go for Will-O-Wisp, miss the Will-O-Wisp. Oh my goodness. Go for finally getting a Will-O-Wisp on, because I just want some chip damage off on this Flubber. And I'm playing at risky with my Rotom, especially, you know, I need it still to check the Crobat and a few other things, but I can Pain Split, basically wear this guy down as much as possible. So I can just go for Volt Switch here, bring him down really, really low, which is great, and go into Gothitelle as he goes to the Psychic. So that's great for me, and he is going to drop down from there. So that's huge for us in terms of Mega Lopunny side. So I do sack off me here, and that's great for us. So now I can go into my Florges, and depending on his spread, I had it was like a 50-50 chance to be able to OHKO, but unfortunately, I think I get a low roll here. I don't know what his nature is, so it might not make too much difference, and he does go for the Sludge Wave. So I switch out here, knowing this, I can, you know, still potentially sweep a lot of his team from there, as he now goes into Red Bull, and I couldn't afford this guy to get free SD off from there either. So now he knocks me off, takes off my leftovers, that's fine by me, because now I can go back into my Mega Lopunny, and we are starting the potential sweep from here. So I go for Power Up Punch here, and he does reveal, you know, as you saw, the Rocky Helmet damage. Go for Last Resort, get the damage off, and now he hits the Sleep Powder. So that's unfortunate for us. We basically got to try and burn turns of sleep if we can. So we burn the first turn of sleep, and I think it's up to 3 turns of sleep, if I remember rightly, that you get. And unfortunately, we do not wake up in time. It was one of those difficult ones where if we'd have woken up, then I'd just swept the team. So I OHKO'd this guy, OHKO'd the this guy, and he wouldn't be able to switch out enough to be able to get enough Rocky Helmet damage to take me out, and even if he did, then Florges would still be able to clean up. So unfortunately, the game did come down to sleep turns from there, because he's able to then Brave Bird us and basically take us out from there. So unfortunately, you know, a sad end to the game, but it's going to mean playoffs are going to be interesting, because we've now had a 4-0 loss, which was definitely not representative of how close this game was. But it means that now we're a little bit in trouble for playoffs. So if Gareth beats Merc 3-0 or more, then he's in, and then unfortunately our season is going to be over from there. But you know, we still got a chance. It would have been nice to get the guaranteed kills from there, but you know, there's not much you can do. It's Pokemon. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the match. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and don't forget to check out all the Melon stuff, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.